one.
Greetings, Facebook family and friends, and our divine sisters and brothers in the house. Welcome to the Circle of Sisters podcast. I am your host, Chantel Sierta Shakim, here with my beautiful sister, Lady Young, our spiritual guide, and we are here to just chat it up a little bit, as we always do.
Thanks for tuning in. One of the things that we love about this podcast that we're creating here is that you really get to see us raw and uncut. We have implemented a lot of the things that we talk about into our lives and are still figuring out how to implement even more things to our lives in order for us to be able to be in flow with the universe and to be able to move effortlessly towards our goals, our dreams, and manifest the life that we desire. That's really the goal and the purpose of this podcast, is to create a safe space to educate, inform, and actually have dialogue about topics of a more spiritual and metaphysical level. What would you say about the podcast? Let's just talk to it for a second.
Yes, I am so thankful that you inspired this, right? And put it into action, bringing our dreams and our visions into reality. And that's really what it's all about. As we begin to create our reality and create the lives we want to live, living our best life now, this podcast has been a dream come true for me. And I know it has been for you. And it's just like when we decided, let's just do it, it has just been so fulfilling. I think the idea of really adjusting our crowns, as my prop shows, is where it starts. It's all is mine. As we talked previously in a podcast before on the Hermetic principles. If you don't know what they are, check them out, because that is the way the world is ran, through the Hermetic principles, or the Hermetic principles, if you want to say. And the first one is mentalism. And mentalism is all is mine. Everything that we see, everything that we get to touch in the tangible world starts with a thought. And if we begin to think about that and see how thought becomes things, we can see how we can begin to change our individual experiences. And then the universe is the nature or the law that supports that. And as we put the topic for today, looking for those signs and symbols in our present reality to help us begin to continue to create. So us creating this podcast has been part of that. It was first a thought, and then it became a thing. So this is how it begins, and I'm super excited about that.
Yes. I'm glad that you touched on the signs and symbols. We are entering as we are in the state, the age of Aquarius, where there are so many shifts happening. There's so many things that are going on that is really creating a clean canvas for us to start to move and operate with. We're seeing that in our lives. There may be some restructure with the jobs, maybe some restructure with the home situation, or just your interpersonal being may be feeling like you're going under a reconstruction period or a rebirth, a rebuild of sorts. This is because there are a lot of signs that are happening that are propelling us to move forward. The problem is, though, many of us are unconscious to what those signs are, what they represent. We see a billboard that says McDonald's. And so we ride past it. And then 10 minutes later, on another side of town, we see another image. Something comes on the TV. Then you see someone walking by with a bag of McDonald's. And all of a sudden, you have a craving for McDonald's. The universe works the same way to reaffirm the things that you have thought in your mind. But sometimes we're so distracted by the billboard ads or the ads that are put on us that we don't listen to the signs and wonders that are reaffirming our dreams and our desires. And so thanks, Maisha said she had to come over and watch. Thank you. We don't pay attention to the signs and symbols that are reaffirming our own soul's mission and our soul's thoughts. And so today's conversation about signs and symbols is really about connecting the signs and symbols that you see that reaffirm your heart's desires in order to manifest the things that you want to do. So when I talk about that, what I'm actually meaning is, let's say I get the thought that I want to start a new business, right? The thought came in my head. I hadn't even spoke it out loud. And then I see an ad on the TV that says, get AI's help to start your own business. That's a sign, right? There could also be a sign, me walking in the mall and someone passes me a business card that says, start your business now. The problem is we tend to discard those particular signs and we pay more attention on the signs that reinforce our fears. And so let's talk about some of the different ways that we can see signs in the universe, though, because those are signs that really happen through technology or interperson interaction. But there are signs that happen in nature that reaffirms our dreams and our desires. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So you made a good point about the subliminals, right? The subliminal messages that are a part of our program and a part of our society that we often pick up without even knowing. And most times it affirms the lower vibrational energies, because that's what our program has been really subdued to be responsive to. We are more responsive to the negatives. So when we think about the messages and the signs and the symptoms that come forth in our reality now that stem and help us to create, we have to think about, what is it called? What's it called? Coincidences, right? So coincidences, like you may be thinking about something and coincidentally you see it. And that's you really creating that. Your subconscious mind is now bringing it to your conscious mind that also manifests it in your reality. Mm-hmm. So it works that way, as within, so without. And it also works when the universe wants to get your attention. We have, you may see birds. You may have loved ones who pass on and they show up. I know that has happened for me in the most strangest way. We're in winter here in the United States. And why did I see a cardinal? One day I was thinking about my mother. As you guys know, she has transitioned. And I did take this little cardinal from her apartment. And I was thinking about her, and she had this cardinal in her apartment. But lo and behold, I see a red bird. I see a cardinal fly by. And I was like, how coincidental, right? So those could be signs, or butterflies or any animal that you have connected a symbolic connection with, and how it may come to you to say, hey, I know what you know, or I just want you to know I'm thinking of you, or that I love you. Or even when we think of numerology, and a lot of people have been familiar with seeing sequential numbers over and over. You look on the back of a car, you see this number. You look at a billboard, you see that same number. Those are signs. These are signs that help us to navigate. They're like the hidden passwords of this reality, if you take time to tune in. And then also connect that to the highest vibration of your expression. So that's how you begin to work with nature, work with the laws, and begin to create the life you want to live. But you have to be consciously aware of it, first off, and you have to not be distracted. You can't be distracted, and you have to be intentional about what you think about and what you hold as a fervent thought or a emotional thought, because those things become things as well. So it can work positively or in a lower vibration, negatively, if you want to call it that. So this is what we're learning as we navigate our life experience. And it's amazing.
Absolutely. Amazing. And it's fun. Honestly, it's like the funnest ongoing, I don't want to say game, but if you think about it that way, it's really fun because it's challenging you to go deeper and to learn how to pass the different levels, right? And when I first got into really recognizing the signs in nature, right, the first thing that I was immediately gravitated towards was spiritual animals. And what are spiritual animals? So spirit animals can be, it's really the energy of the animal, and how that animal moves, how that animal is sawn throughout not just society as we see it now, but even in ancient times. We know from the ancient Egyptians that hieroglyphics usually contained a lot of animal symbolism. That's because animals are one of the first things that we notice within nature, right? Animals, the trees, and the plants and different things like that. And so animals was my first sign. One of the things I would do is when I wake up in the morning, I would go outside, and if I saw a particular animal that may be unusual or just stood out to me that morning, I would look up the symbolism of that particular animal. I was at a period of my life where I was seeing butterflies quite often. And butterflies were something that I remember as a kid. Oh, please forgive me, butterflies, but I used to pick them up. I would wait for them to land, and I would pick them up and try to put them in jars when I was little.
They're sensitive.
They brittle wings, right? Look, hindsight is 2020. So I would I would try to collect them, and I've always been drawn to them. And now I appreciate them in a whole nother way because I understand the symbolism of rebirth, with butterflies and transition and the metamorphosis that you can do within your life. And so that became one of the spiritual totems that I really stuck with for a long period of time. And then I started to study more and more about various animals.
And that is right in alignment with what Maisha put. She said she sees 555 everywhere. She said, I know change is necessary because the number 5 is all about change, as you speak of the butterfly and the transformation. But fear, she says, but fear hinders me, but I know a pivot is necessary. And since I want to speak on that, because 5 is my life path number, and I work with that energy of 5 all the time. The one thing about the number 5 that I hold on to, being a life path number 5, is freedom. You must, even if your knees shake, seek to find places of freedom. Even, on the other side of fear is your greatest dream. So we have to see fear for what it is. It's false evidence appearing real. So it's just an illusion. This whole world is an illusion. And we get to choose which part of it we get to experience. So even in the fear, it's about sitting with what is it that you truly fear for a moment. Don't rehearse that over and over, but sit in that space of fear. And then along the lines of the Hermetic principles, what is the opposite? And the opposite of fear is love, really. And if you expand that into what do I love about this thing that I want and that I desire, and begin to hold that vibration of I want to do this, I know I need to change, and start with little things. Start with the little baby step toward what it is that you truly desire. And then sometimes it's like take the leap like the fool and just jump in there, and then know that the universe is supporting you, because if you have the thought, it's ready to be birthed. It's ready to be manifested. It's ready to come forth. And the programming of the world is to keep us stuck, to keep us confined, to keep us in this box of slavery. And it first enslaves our mind. That's why we are the Soul Sisters speaking out and fixing crowns, because if you knew someone has already done it, it makes it easier for you to move into it. So look at those people around you who are doing things off the cuff. You know, today is day one, right? And if I feel that I need to move in a direction of change, I can do it, even if it's a little step. But it might feel big, but understand on the other side is everything you want. And if you can sacrifice fear, that false illusion of what may happen for what is going to happen based on what you desire, where is the fear? Where is the fear? I know I've struggled I've been challenged by fear a lot in my life, but I've come to this place in my life where I'm like, what do I have to lose? And then what do I have to gain? And which is most important to me now? I have so much to gain on the other side of my fear that I'm willing to take the chance. I'm willing to make that step. I'm willing to go that extra mile. And I look for the signs and I hold that vibration like, okay, God, okay, universe, okay, my highest self, okay, the dream, the vision. You showed me this for a reason. I'm trusting and believing that I'm going to move forward in that. And one thing also I would add to that is I'm doing the mind science philosophy, the mental experience with Reverend Casey. If you haven't yet checked into him, check into it. He's doing a teaching all year talking about the mental experience, how to live your best life now. And he connects Bible principles and Bible teachings with the metaphysics of God in us, right? And he breaks down different words in scripture, and he talked about the word faith and said that our faith is really equivalent to our thinking. Sit with that for a minute. Faith is equal to thinking. So if you think a thought, you have faith that that can be manifested. God is supporting that because it's been given to you. It's a gift. So that's it for that.
I love that. And yes, please tap in, Maisha, with Dr. Casey's class. I think that will really help bridge the gap for you, and you'll love it. But I want to speak about angel numbers for a second as well. Angel numbers are literally signs, okay? Signs from the spiritual realm, the spiritual world, confirming, reaffirming that which, you know, we desire. And I want you, because I know fear was mentioned, and so I want to go a step further and talk about this in depth. You know that it's change, right? But fear is keeping you from moving on that change. Listen to this. It says angel number 555 is said to represent change, good fortune, and personal growth, transformation, freedom. Okay, these are some of the things that come with that 555. So I would look at that as a sign that is reaffirming that this is going to be a good change. There's nothing to fear. Literally, it says good luck. There is nothing to fear. So and the personal growth that is going to come along with that as you transform and you find your freedom. And so you know that we are here to support um, in any way we can. We do have, I do want to mention, we have our retreat at the end of March. It's a 3-day retreat where we talk about tapping into, as Dr. Casey is really going into depth in his series, but we talk about that tapping into that inner G, that inner God that is within each and every one of us. And the way that we understand that inner God is by looking at God's things, God's life forces that he's presented us with, looking at the trees, looking at the animals, looking at the numbers, because we know that numbers is a big part of our system that we are in now. And so looking at the numbers, paying attention to these things, we are entering a phase where we can no longer stay blinded. The being blinded will keep us stuck in a lower frequency, and it may not end very well. As far as accomplishing the dream life that you desire. In order to align with the things that you are meant to have, you have to keep your focus on that. So we were talking earlier today about what you think. And this is why we have this podcast, to really transform the minds of how we think and we see things. Because when we think about whatever we keep our mind focused on, and we repeat this quite frequently because it's really the most important principle, especially when we talk about manifesting. But what we think of primarily is what we manifest. So if we think fear-based, we manifest more things to be afraid of. If we think based on love and based on desire and our heart's desire, then we manifest more of that. And so we have a lot of things that bombard our time, our frequency, and our energy just by merely existing. That is why it is so much more important for us to diligently and intentionally seek out the things that reaffirm your desires. Meaning, I'm programming my eyes to recognize the things. You might have to make that a prayer or a chant,
Yes.
Please, as I go out here today, please reaffirm and show me the signs, make them stand out, make them loud, make them bold, so that I can recognize that I am on the right path. You can say that.
Yes.
And that confirmation.
And yes, that is it. You mentioned, we live in a world of numbers. Everything is sequential to numbers. Everything, computer programs, it's numbers. We don't see the numbers, right? We don't see what makes this a reality. We don't see it. It's the unseen. But those numbers that stand out are here to guide us, right? Are here to give us a warning, to help us tap into our own knowing, because we know it. We've been sent here with a purpose. And especially now, as you mentioned, the age of Aquarius, we are in the year to make it happen. And those of you who are listening in and have been pulled this way or that way, like, my thought process is beginning to change. I'm questioning the way I've been taught. Move in that direction. Don't think that you're that you're stuck in this is the way it's always been, because things are changing. We see the small changes, but big changes are also happening, and the universe is supporting us and trying to give the signs and the symbols in the world. And as you see things changing and shifting, you must also change and shift, and then be expansive in the way of, oh, what does this really mean? Or take it a level deeper. I had a revelation on the call. My little crown is slipping down. Look, as above, so below. Look. But I had a revelation on the call. One scripture in the Bible that always stood out to me when I was very much an avid Christian studying my Bible was, and greater works shall you do. And greater works shall you do. And that was a question for me in my prayer. Like, okay, God, you said greater works. What should we do? Where are they? And why aren't we seeing them? And the revelation dropped in class on Sunday. It's like Spirit said, you are the greater work, and it's up to you to do it. And that greater work comes from our renewing of our minds, renewing of that connection with Mother Nature and Earth, and being able to connect with the signs and the symbols to bring forth those miraculous changes, which are really not really miraculous, but they are miraculous in our time because it's like we begin to create and know that we can create. We come into the knowing, and it's not just happenstance. It's not just like, oh, we got to follow the leader. This is what's going on. We got to do it this way. No, you have to stand in your own soul sovereignty. And that is where the God consciousness is. That's where it has you realizing there's no box at all. That's where it has you realizing that, hey, what I think about is really happening in my life. So let me start thinking otherwise. You think of even the stories of Jesus and the miracles that he performed. He said, what is it? Who do you think I am? Or what is it that you need? And they would say, I want to walk, or I want to see. And he said, be it unto you. He didn't even do anything. Yeah. It was that transition of, okay, I want to see. Okay, then see. I want to walk. Pick up your mat and walk.
By your faith, you are healed. So
by your thinking.
Ashe. Listen, there has been so many gems dropped on today's live. We do not want to overwhelm you. We want you to be able to marinate and sit with that. I'm glad that the number that came up today was 555, because as you all know, we are hosting the retreat March 28th through 30th at in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's going to be in a beautiful, luxurious mansion, and it will also be in nature. So it'll allow us to work on some of the things that we've been talking about. It'll allow us time to understand our energy a lot deeper, so that we can elevate to a higher frequency or transmute anything that has been holding us, weighing us down from anything that we've been holding on to. It is a time of great transformation, and the price is $555. It's $555. That includes your meals, that includes your lodging. You just got to find a way to get there. I'm going to tell you, if you want to come, but you don't have the 555 right now, if you pay $55, we just told you about your thinking. If you pay $55 with the thought and the intention and the faith that you will be able to have the remaining portion by the time that we go to the retreat, I guarantee you will not want to miss this opportunity. It is something that not only builds us closer, it helps your network, it helps your center of gravity for rooting within yourself. A lot of times we have family things, other obligations to work, and other aspects of our lives. It's good to have something that's just for us. And so it creates a safe and a sacred space that's just for you. If you want to bring your divine partner or your bestie, you can too, because we do support that as well. So the divine partners and your besties are able to come, because this is a healing that we all need.
And I want to throw out there right now, just because you said it and I felt it in my spirit, that we want everyone who wants to be there. And there is an activation code that is available that gives you $50 off. And nobody really knows it's there, because I kind of put it in there just in case for such a time as this. So if you use or watch this video and know that you want to be there, use the code activation and get $50 off. So it makes that even more affordable. And I'm telling you, your room, your board, the workshops, the food, the fellowship, the elevation that you'll receive from being there is well worth it. It's well worth it.
Ashe. Thank you so much, sis. It's always a pleasure to sit in a circle with you and to spread our knowledge and our information. It is never a dull moment when we are together. And I'm so glad we get to share this sisterhood with the rest of our external sisterhood that's out there, so we can make this movement global. Okay. Circle of Sister podcast has a lot of great things in store for you. We will be bringing on some additional Circle stars in the future, so stay tuned for more updates about that. We are also going to be opening up the phone lines and the airwaves so that we can get callers to come in and join us from time to time. So y'all, look, we moving on faith. Okay, we do not have a lot of technical savvy in this, so that's why you seeing it. You're seeing us grow in this space, and I'm so glad that all of you are here with us from the very, very, very beginning, because you'll see as we evolve and transform over the next upcoming months as we continue to add more sisters into the Circle of Sisters podcast. Until next time.
We are the Soul Sisters, speaking out
and fixing
crowns in the process. Until next time, peace and love.
Stay tuned. Don't log off. Watch our video of the retreat so you know what to expect.
Ashe.